This is why you die.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to This Is Why You Died, the horror show that you watch, and then 7 days later, you die, unless you make someone else watch it. So spread the word. We are on YouTube, we're on Spotify, Apple, all the best platforms to help us spread like a viral monkey disease that will make you bleed from all your holes. I, as always, am Sir Ian Dangerous, aka your Uncle Frank. And joining me are the highly contagious Dan Marcha Madness and the partially contained Ryan Ross live. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
You need to be watching the video version of this because Ryan, having not seen The Ring or know the plot of it, was so surprised by it.
Okay. I was like, what are we doing? Oh my goodness. The viewers are going to be so scared.
Essential information that Ryan might have needed to know before that.
You know what's funny is my first thought was just that it was like one of those like email like you know those email scams of like if you read this you will die in 3 days unless you forward to another individual.
It's pretty much that, just a haunted cassette tape video.
One of those emails that you receive from like your grandma because like they're like, oh God, I don't know who this is from.
When they make The Ring 3, it will be the boomer grandma is sending you the videotaping like, they got this in the mail from some nice Nigerian man, and I thought you would want to take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the show. We are the show that picks prompts at random from our 666 words and phrases in our buckets of the beast. And then we choose horror movies based on those prompts and come back here to discuss them for the entertainment of our dedicated listeners. So here we are on the show once again. Before we get into our movie of the day, which is decided by Ryan today. No, Dan, this is yours. Dan's one today. This is Dan's. Dan said, that's very exciting because Dan, you had a really interesting prompt that we didn't know which way you were going to go on, and you chose a great movie. I can't wait to talk about it. But before we do, guys, we live in Los Angeles. We talk about movies. We've got to talk about the elephant in the room right now, and that is the fact that Netflix they're going to try. They put in the winning bid for Warner Brothers. They still have a long way to go to actually acquire the company, lots of legal hurdles and otherwise, but they have made the accepted bid for Warner Brothers, Netflix streaming service taking over Warner Brothers. Anything you want to talk about that, guys? Dan, you got any thoughts on that? Ryan, any details you want to add? Anything you want to say for your situation in particular, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll preface by saying I have to keep a little tight-lipped on this one because I am an employee of Warner Brothers. So that my day job is that I am the manager of live streaming at Warner Brothers for Warner Brothers games specifically. Which is involved in the deal. And so unfortunately, I can't really speak to it because there are legal agreements and the WB lawyers are scary and much more equipped than me. And so I have to be pretty objective here. I can just kind of speak to the logistics and the happenings of what's actually publicly been stated, which is that, of course, Netflix has stated the interest to purchase, WB has agreed, and pending all of the regulatory FTC approvals and such, it will likely take at least a year and a half for all these things to get settled, if they get settled at all. And we'll see how it all shakes out. But obviously kind of a big media shakeup in the industry for sure.
Yeah, massive shift. I mean, as someone who works at Warner Brothers, off the top of your head, what are some of the like franchises and IPs that Netflix is going to get their hands on? I mean, horror or otherwise. I mean, it's a massive library.
Well,
it's over at Warner Brothers.
To blatantly cover my ass, I will just read the email that I got from Netflix, unrelated to me working at Warner Brothers, just as a Netflix subscriber. Netflix officially released an email to their subscribers. I do have Netflix as an account, which said that they recently announced that they'll acquire Warner Brothers, including its film and television studios, HBO Max and HBO. This unites our leading entertainment service with Warner Brothers' iconic stories, bringing some of the world's most beloved franchises like Harry Potter, Friends, The Big Bang Theory, Casablanca, and Game of Thrones, and the DC universe together with Stranger Things, Wednesday, Squid Game, Bridgerton, and K-pop Demon Hunters. So I will just pass it to Netflix and let them answer that question.
Yeah, and that's scraping The surface, I mean, just
Correct.
this year alone, think about some of the big hits that Warner Brothers had in the horror sphere. Final Destination, they had the new Conjuring movie, they had one of the biggest successes of the year, Sinners. I mean, it was an absolutely massive year for Warner Brothers in the horror sphere as well. And on top of that, Netflix is saying, "Oh, Warner Brothers has this, great library that we're happy to acquire." They've also got fingers in Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street franchises, Final Destination, obviously.
Wow.
They're very in the horror sphere, but they also have a massive history of movies. They also own TCM, Turner Classic Movies. Like there's a massive back, like ancient history movies pre-1975, which I know Netflix does not like to typically deal with. So I'm very curious what they're going to do with that. Dan, what are your thoughts on this gigantic merger?
I mean, my biggest fear or my biggest concern, honestly, is just the theatrical experience. There's a lot of people, I think, back and forth of like, oh, well, if Netflix then purchases Warner Brothers, then they're going to have to get into the theatrical game and have to start putting their products into theaters, which they're not used to doing. They only kind of do every now and then for a stunt or to like get their movies nominated for Oscars. But then there's the other side of the fence that are saying it's like, no, if Netflix takes over, they're probably just going to start ending some of that theatrical experience, or like, why have it? I think we talked about it, but like, we could probably see Netflix theaters popping up to compete against AMC theaters, so like, who knows? I'm just curious because I still feel like I feel like the theatrical experience is sort of like under fire right now. There's still some people going to the movies. There's big tent movies. There's big like event movies, and people are going, like Wicked for Good, stuff like that. People are going to the theater, but it still feels like it's hanging on by a thread. People aren't appreciating it the way that I think we did when we were growing up as kids. So I'm just curious, like, if Netflix takes this over and takes over so much of these properties, what are they going to do with the theatrical experience?
It's a massive question, and it's particularly relevant looking at something we've talked about on this show, which is the fact that we got lucky. We all got to see Frankenstein, a Netflix movie, in the theaters, but I think we all agreed that is not a movie that is meant for just viewing on a small TV in your home. That's a theater movie. Can you imagine if a movie like Sinners, with all of its IMAX stuff in it, was only ever shown at home? So it's a big concern, and I really can't weigh in that much either. Much like Ryan, I'm in the industry, so I mean, I don't want legal coming after me over at NBC Universal either. So I can't really give too much of my personal opinion on this. But
I'll tell a little tiny personal story on that before we jump back into more stuff. But like, one of Netflix's biggest properties from this past year was, of course, K-pop Demon Hunters. My kids have watched that movie, I don't know, 20, 30 times before they put it back in theaters. We finally did get to go see it the weekend of Halloween in the theaters because I wanted to like see what it was like. And in the finale, the big cinematic finale, my oldest daughter got very emotional, actually started crying like out of nowhere. And she's seen this movie dozens, like 20 times probably. And it's like, it hit me. I was like, this is the power of sitting in a movie and sharing, like sitting in a dark room, sharing an experience with people, seeing something on such a big screen. Like it can move you in a totally different way than just casually putting it on, from the comfort of your couch. So it's, it really could show what the medium does. And I hope Netflix kind of still
it can. That. If you have been to a theater, you know what I'm talking about. That Nicole Kidman teaser that they put in front of all the movies.
It's the bisexual
like we all kind
anthem.
We kind of laugh at it, but I mean, she's not wrong. The script isn't wrong. Like there's something magical about theaters, about being in the theater,
Love
and I gotta say,
in a place like this.
You've seen it one too many times, I see. But it does. Emotions feel bigger. Everything feels bigger in a theater. And there's also, especially for horror movies, there's also the crowd experience as well. Everyone's screaming at the same time, laughing at the same thing, feeling tension and release at the same time. It's a massive part of the horror movie experience. So it's definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on. And I don't think this is the last time we're talking about it on this show.
I will throw out, I think that nobody knows what Netflix is going to do. We'll have to just kind of see, even assuming that it does get approved and it goes through all the legal loopholes and everything that it has to clear in order to happen. Assuming that all happens, we do know that Netflix in 2023 restored the Egyptian, which was an old theater that was going under in LA. That was a historic theater, so they definitely have at least some interest in theatrical. Again, we talked about, like, we don't know if that's just for the purposes of awards, of just kind of getting minimal windows of, for those who don't know, you need to put movies in the theaters for at least 2 weeks to be potentially nominated eligible for nomination for things like the Oscars. And so who knows, but it'll be very interesting to see how it all develops over time and kind of where things land. Because at least there's some what's the word I'm looking for? Like signals that they value it for some reason. We just don't know what those reasons are.
Well, this is the thing is, you talk about the richness of the IPs and the depth, like I was saying, with the history of the movies and the projects that they're picking up at Warner Brothers. The Looney Tune, Jesus Christ, like just the Looney Tunes library alone, and the amount of times that Warner Brothers has sat on that library and done nothing with it is kind of crazy. But who knows what Netflix's ultimate intentions are? I'm sure we will come back and talk about this some more, but just worth mentioning because holy shit, this could be absolutely seismic in terms of the industry. But also seismic was the movie that we're going to talk about today in terms of the horror landscape. It was a massive movie when it came out in terms of it wasn't like a big hit in the sense like Sinners was, but culturally speaking, everyone knows about this movie, and it certainly has, I think, ushered in a lot of a very certain kind of tone for modern movies. Dan, why don't you go ahead and introduce the movie that we are talking about today?
The movie we were talking about, we are revisiting Ari Aster again. We're seeing his first film, Hereditary.
Ooh!
Which was a movie that fucked me up when I saw it the first time.
I was not excited to watch this movie.
That's my point, though, Ryan, is that you are coming new, fresh into the horror sphere right now, and you had heard about what this movie is. This movie has a reputation.
It very much
does.
This
movie, yeah. In the trailers, one of the most terrifying trailers ever made. Dan, why did you pick this movie? This is another thing I think is very cool. Why did you pick Hereditary?
Well, what was interesting is that I got the prompt of car, and so I hadn't even thought of this first, but I have
Ryan shaking his head.
Yeah. See, he knows. Hereditary.
He knows now.
Hereditary is back. We'll go over my personal thoughts on it, but it's kind of been back there of like, I gotta bring it onto the show when I can. And so like I had honestly been thinking of I Saw the Devil, which has an interesting iconic car scene in that, if you've seen that movie. And so that's what I was going to pitch. And then when I remembered the car scene from this movie, I was like, I can't let it pass by. Let's roll the dice, and luck of the draw, luck of the number, luck of the roll. We are watching Hereditary, and so I knew I had to bring it. It is such a messed up, important, horrible horror movie that like really shifted something in the direction of horror, in my opinion, when it hit. I saw my first experience with it was seeing it by myself in the theater with a crowd, but I didn't know what to expect. The great thing about this movie is, like you said, the trailer, but they really pushed the girl as like a very important part. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be like an Omen freaky movie. Yeah. So you think that the girl is like this going to be key part. And so when the car scene happens,
spoiler alert here.
Let's get to spoilers, but I won't go into it super. But when the car scene occurs, everything shifts, and that's why I was like, we gotta talk about this movie.
All right, so that's a perfect way. No, you brought it right to that point, right to the edge where we are gonna have to give the spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. All spoilers, including character deaths and plot twists, are now authorized. You have been warned.
Bam, bam, bam. Yes. Oh my goodness. It is time to give all of the spoilers for Hereditary. Brace yourselves if you haven't seen this movie. So, Dan, as you were just referring to the car scene, that fucking Volvo, the car scene in this movie, it's funny. When you said, oh, I'm going to choose Hereditary because of a car, it took me a couple of seconds to go, why would he choose oh, God, right. Oh, God, there is a car. That is, it's kind of, you're right. They gave us the Janet Leigh. They gave us this movie's all about this character. It's all about Millie Shapiro's character, Charlie, the daughter of the family. And then 40 minutes in, pop.
Nope.
Nope.
Pop.
Swerve.
Literal pop.
Literal pop, literal swerve.
Oh,
Ryan Ross live. As we probably can guess, you've never seen Hereditary before this time. I've only seen it twice before. Dan saw it once before in a theater. What is your previous
I've had
experience?
a couple other experiences that were
did you?
interesting, too.
How
We'll
many
get
times
into
have you seen it?
This is probably my fourth time seeing it. Fourth or fifth time seeing it. Yeah. I love this movie.
That's twisted.
I love it. Yeah.
That's the highest number of times you've seen a movie yet on this show.
Probably. This is an important one to me. Yep.
Except Scream.
Except Scream.
Well, yeah, Scream's like a yearly watch. Like Halloween's also a yearly watch.
We
so
gotta
it's like,
be, we gotta be objective here.
Yeah,
but I've got some important key moments of my life have involved Hereditary, so we could go into that. But let's hear what Ryan's got.
Now
Let's hear
I'm
it.
terrified.
I'm worried. I'm worried now. Ryan Ross live. What were your impressions of Hereditary coming into it? And then, how was your first experience watching Hereditary? Bring it on.
I was not looking forward to this movie. I had heard a lot about this movie, like not plot-wise, just kind of in general, that this movie was traumatizing, that it was scarring, that it was a really brutal movie, that it fucked people up. I had heard from some friends who are not big horror people, but talked about how they had seen this movie and it messed them up. And then, actually, ironically, I think one of the main kind of like actual things I'd heard about Hereditary was one of the first times that the first time that I introduced the two of you to each other, and we went to the Horror Vibes in NoHo, and you guys were
shout out
talking horror, which was the purpose of the get together, was to introduce the two together and get them to go off on horror.
And here we are 2 years later.
Yeah. I specifically remember that one of the things discussed, I don't remember by whom, I think it was Ian, was talking about how this movie has a huge exposition dump at the end that explains a big chunk of the movie. So that was about all I knew, right? Was that we were going to get to the end and I was going to get a bunch of info and that this movie was fucked up. And boy, were those accurate takes going in. Everything that I heard was true. And yeah, I think this was by far, it had been a while since we've watched a movie that I felt genuinely fully tense and creeped out by. I feel like we've done a number of movies recently that, they've got spooky or creepy elements or whatever, but they're not necessarily as tense of movies, or they feel more kind of formulaic. This one, definitely that tension is high and you're trying to figure out what's going on and there's a mystery element and I'm always one who's kind of drawn to the more psychological horror aspects anyway. Mind horror stuff I think is generally more scary than physical horror most of the time for me, and this one very much rides that line as well. So yeah, definitely. I wasn't looking forward to going in, and I wasn't really sure what to be prepared for. But I guess my preparations were fairly close. It wasn't that far off.
Right. At this point, also, I mean, you've experienced a fair dose of the harder edge of horror with stuff like Inside and Martyrs. In that sphere, I don't know that. I mean, Hereditary has a reputation. Let's get it out in the open. Hereditary has a reputation, as you said, for being really traumatizing, really affecting, really scary. Honestly, I personally don't think it's that hardcore of a horror movie, especially when you consider things like Martyrs or Inside. But what it is massively emotionally traumatizing because it's a movie about trauma. It's a movie about suffering. It's a movie about people who can't face their own emotions and can't process their own emotions and are just stuck and hurt, and they're hurting each other. And they're also tragically stuck in this cycle that they don't even recognize that they're in, and they think that they have agency and power, and they don't. hence all the dollhouse imagery in the movie.
I would honestly even venture to say that, like, I think the examples that we give are like pretty much the definition of extreme examples of like, we look at Inside, we look at Martyrs, we look at these other movies that take it kind of to 11 with these things. Whereas I feel like generally for the people who don't delve as deep as we have or choose to kind of go into the deep annals of horror, I imagine that this is something that would be kind of on that upper limit for like the average person. It takes that tension and it takes that suspension, it takes that discomfort, and it's definitely something that is very tangible in this movie. It does it to great effect. I don't think it takes it to an extreme, but I do think that it does it very effectively, is I think where I would draw the delineation.
Super effectively, and I agree, for a mainstream movie, I think this movie sets up a lot of horror tension, and then it absolutely pays it at the end, where it's like, hey, it's like it's making you wait for a slap, and you keep like wincing, waiting for the slap to come, and then it slaps the shit out of you at the end.
I would say that it sucker punches you in the nose and breaks it. Like,
so to speak.
It hits you.
Right? I would say it's one of those things that it kind of like hovers, and then it slaps, and it hovers, and then it slaps, and then you're expecting a slap, and then you get decked.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. The car scene, the way that they edit that scene where you don't see anything, he can't even look into the rearview mirror and see what has happened to his sister. If you haven't seen Hereditary and you're still listening because you don't want to watch the movie and you just want to hear us talk about it, it's about a very fucked up family who, simply put, are being manipulated by a cult. And it's Ari Aster has summarized it by saying that it's a long form possession story from the point of view of the sacrificial lamb. And
interesting. I could see that.
It's a great way to put it, where you have a family that's basically their grandmother has been manipulating the whole family into becoming a vessel for an ancient demon. And some things have gotten fucked up along the way in her plan. The King of Hell. Yes. One of the 9 demonic kings of the Goetic demonology, along with Belial, Zagan, Vine, Balaam, Baal, Belith, Person, and Asmodeus. That would be King Paimon is the demon that they're trying to summon into this. Well, they were trying to summon it into a boy, but they instead got it into the body of this little girl who was the second born. And then the plan is that we're going to kill this little girl and put it into the body of the firstborn son, who's
because he prefers male bodies.
Because he prefers male bodies.
Covetous of male bodies.
He is.
Comfortable sentences for 1,000. Covetous.
Yeah. Gross. Gross. But also gross is what happens to the little girl, because, you know, one of the things that Paimon apparently likes to do is behead people. Lots of beheadings.
Lots of beheadings
in this movie. And the little girl suffers a peanut allergy. And while her brother is frantically trying to drive her to the hospital, he swerves to avoid some perhaps intentionally placed roadkill.
Definitely.
And she's sticking her head out the window, and she is decapitated by a telephone pole. A telephone pole, interestingly enough, that I saw this time, is actually inscribed with the mark of Paimon.
Yep.
Which was a cute little touch.
And they show it to you well before the scene even happens.
Yep.
Yes.
So maybe you forgot about it. Maybe you forgot about it. That's actually, interesting note, that's actually the symbol of Paimon. Like, Paimon's an actual demon in demonology, in like old sorcerer texts and grimoires and stuff. Like, Paimon's actually a thing, and that symbol of him is actually his symbol, except they didn't use the real one. The real one has 4 figures. This has 3, because they felt it was really unlucky to put an actual demonic symbol in the fucking movie.
That makes sense.
You know, if we're going to do art, let's do art. Let's not summon demons.
Let's tweak it a little bit.
Let's not really piss off this demon. I mean, this guy's been around longer than any of us. Let's not
actually considering the frequency of the symbols use in the film. I feel like choice. You know, let's not roll those dice.
Yeah, we don't exactly show them in the fondest of lights, so let's not push the buttons. But okay, Dan, this, you know, the way that they edit that scene where the little girl gets decapitated is such, as you said, like it's a feint, and then they uppercut you later on, where it happens and the boy is dissociating in the front seat, and he's like tries to look in the back, and he can't even look in the rearview mirror, and he just drives home and goes to bed, leaves the car in the driveway, and goes upstairs, and then we just hover on his face while his mom starts screaming gutturally when she finds the body the next morning.
Oh,
and then when you're freaked out by the screams, bam!
Boom.
They show you the
There it is.
They show you the head being eaten by ants on the
That's the trauma right there. That's the traumatizing for the viewer to that scene is so brilliant in the way that they just keep ramping up the tension and keep ramping it up where he only shows you just a little bit so that your brain is going crazy because it's like, you know what happened, but you don't accept it. And that actor is incredible. Just like you can see him accept the fate of what just happened and then decide to let it go and completely dissociate and be like, you're okay.
Nope,
you're
we're
okay.
good.
And just let's drive away. It is so and then to follow him upstairs and you hear the mom going, oh good, they're home. We don't cut away from him and the camera to stay on his face is just expert direction. That scene is just such a gut punch, man. I just remember seeing it in the theaters. The shock of it. Yeah. And then the fact that they show you the ant eaten
right up in your face.
Well, not even just the shock for the viewer, but also the shock that he goes through, right? Of to your point, he disassociates because he physically, his whole body goes into that shock of he can't handle it. He has no, he logically, you would like stop the car, you'd call 911, you'd call your family, like there's things to do. You don't have that logic in a moment like that when your body, like he's literally almost rejecting this outcome of like, he just reverts back to normalcy because he physically can't address it. He can't accept it. He can't comprehend it.
How was that scene for you, Ryan? The first time seeing it, what was like? You're new, you're fresh to the scene. What was your reaction watching that?
Oh, well, like it was just like processing, right? You're like, oh my God, did this just occur? Because especially they cut away so fast, you don't know how bad it is. You know that it's bad. You know that there's no noises. You know that there's no movement. You know, like you're piecing, to Dan's point, you're piecing these things together because it's all technically off screen. And you can't, your mind is racing to take all these pieces and put them together, and you know it's not good. You just don't know how bad. Right.
I was with you. The first time I saw this movie, I wasn't sure if she'd been decapitated or just bonked really hard and it was her dead body back there. So they cut to the head, and I know the first time I watched this movie, my eyes just went like saucers, like, oh, fuck. He went there.
Especially considering that you cut that way after you hear the mom screaming.
Yeah.
So you hear the mom freaking out, and then you see the head, and now you're putting together the extra fact of like the mom saw it without the head.
Right. She just saw the body, and then to go back to her on the floor screaming, I just want to die. It hurts so bad. Please just let me die.
That's like
worse. It's worse than the head almost.
That's like I can't think of a stronger visual capture of grief on recent film in a movie. Like to see like utter loss and grief hitting somebody in such a wave of like horrifying terror. Like to see like her performance in that scene.
Let's talk about it.
Her performance incredible. It is. This is what this is the most important thing I want to talk about in this whole freaking episode is that it is a crime that the Academy did not even notice and call attention to this role. Toni Collette deserves an Oscar for this. Like, she is such a phenomenal actress. She gave a phenomenal role in The Sixth Sense, but that was like little tiny chip away at what she does in this movie. Like, some of the facial expressions alone that she morphs into deserve a nomination. But oh my God, like just the levels that she reaches throughout this film is incredible.
You don't get those facial expressions. You don't get those faces unless you're really in that moment. And the place that she had to go in this, I'm with you. This is one of the most criminal snubs, even to not even be nominated. I looked at the list of people that were nominated this year for Best Actress. There was room in there for Toni Collette for the Academy Awards of 2019, but for 2018 movies. There's room in there. You know, I forget the actress, but it was The Favorite, Yorgos Lanthimos, The Favorite, that won for Best Actress that year. And arguments could be made about who would win the actual Oscar, but she should have been at least nominated. This is insane, the amount, like the work that she does in this movie. The table scene is very famous too, where that looking at me with that face on your face. Like that scene is
that whole family dinner is brutal.
It's so good.
Fuck.
I saw a TikTok where a woman went into IKEA and acted it out around strangers.
No.
Scene was at a table and she's like,
no.
she's like, what the F are you doing? Look at me with your fucking face on that face. And like people are just like, what is happening? It's pretty famous.
Talk
it's very
about
famous.
Cringe theater. Jeez.
That's massive. But this is the thing. It's an incredible performance in a movie. She didn't want to do this movie. She told her agent, I just want to do comedies. I've done enough heavy movies. I've done some horror movies. I did a couple. She was in The Sixth Sense, and she was great in that as the mom. She did Krampus, I think, which she did because it was a black comedy. Mm-hmm. But she was like, I'm done with horror. Let me do some comedies. And then this script came along, and she was like, well, it's not really a horror. Yeah. It's more of a family drama. And I'm like, how do you go from I just want to do comedies to this? Ryan Ross Live, what was it? What did you feel like when you watched this movie? What fucked you up more, the horror or the drama?
I mean, it's tough because this one intertwines them so much. Like both halves of this movie are... They don't exist without each other. They depend on each other here, right? Yeah. Like the dinner scene alone, we can talk about. Like part of what makes that scene so brutal is the fact that from a horror standpoint, we have all this context of all these things that have happened that are specifically rooted in the horror half of the movie. But that scene is a very dramatic scene, and that scene is made more brutal by the fact that technically everyone in that scene is right in their perspective, and like, it feels like a true family fight, right? Like, the mom is resentful of the son because the son doesn't take ownership for his stuff. And, like, she is grappling with the grief of losing the daughter, and he was driving. And so there's blamatory aspects of that. But then on the flip side, the son already resents the mom because she sleepwalks and apparently tried to murder him in the past. And that's pretty tough to get over as a kid. That's not really something that you deal with. Yeah. And you know that apparently she didn't want to, I don't remember if it was before or after she admits to not wanting to have him. I think that might have been later.
It was before she admits to not, like, trying to kill him in the womb. But that was in her dream. She never actually admits to do it to his face.
But she does say she didn't want to actually have the baby, and I imagine that probably was subliminally, like, that probably affected her behavior over the years as a mother.
Well, and think about this, before that scene we also see her meet Joni in the parking lot, and she says, my daughter was killed, and you see her go catch herself. What did I just say? What does that mean that I think she was killed? And her processing that, like, fuck, is that what I think about my son? And you're spot on. They're all right. But this is what's brilliant about Ari Aster's writing here. They're also all wrong.
Correct.
Right?
They all need to take ownership, but none of them are. And they're all calling each other on it, other than the dad, who's just desperately trying to mediate.
Which is wrong as well, because he's not taking any action to try to resolve the situation. The whole movie, he's just a wet sweat sock there.
Yep.
And he's useless. He's fucking useless. Like, what does he do? Just try to hold the son's hand afterwards, and he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, he's just as...
He just can't finish his rotisserie chicken. That's it.
I know.
But also the poor guy, dude.
Yummy chicken.
Like, yes, he doesn't do anything to like help necessarily. He doesn't take any agency. But God, he also, out of everyone, he's just going through it. He's just desperately trying to keep his family together and just doing a terrible job.
I think he's not desperately trying to keep his family together. After I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
Steve, man, he is not trying to do anything. He doesn't know how to comfort his wife. He's not connected to his son. He doesn't even show any grief towards his... I don't know, man.
It seems implied that this has been happening for a while and that he is like basically out of spoons, right? Like it's one of the things that he's like, he's been dealing with this so long that now he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, fine. If this is the way it's gonna be, fine. And like, I feel for him with that, right? Because like, yes, I agree he doesn't necessarily take any action in the movie itself, but like, I very much got in this movie that it was like one of those things that he's like tried repeatedly in whatever ways he's tried, whether they're effective or not. And he's just like, at this point, basically like throwing his hands up, which isn't forgivable. I'm not excusing the guy, but I also feel for him because like that's gotta suck.
But really, at the end of the day, something that once I've seen this movie a couple of times, like one thing that you get from this is really pour all of them. I mean, very early on in the movie, there's the scene with the teacher where he's talking about the tragedy of Heracles and fate versus free will. Very call back to the original Halloween, what's destined to happen. This movie is very much about a bunch of people who don't even realize that they have absolutely no agency whatsoever. Everything is preordained from them, and no matter what they do to try to struggle, there's nothing that they could possibly do to change their fate. They are little dolls in a dollhouse. That's why he shoots so many scenes with the tilt shift camera lens. So everything looks like this little dollhouse. And she's, the really on the nose metaphor that she's a miniature housemaker and she makes her own little house and her own little, to try to have some control over her life. Right. But she has no control.
The house itself feels like a character in this movie. The long hallways, the way they shoot around corners, the doors and the stairs.
And the words on the wall, like the ancient Hebrew Enochian words on the wall. One of them was it Liftoch Pandemonium? I think was one of them, which means
something like that. Yeah.
Liftoch Pandemonium, which is the Hebrew word to open, and pandemonium is what Lucifer calls hell in Milton. So
Satni,
there's lots
Zazas, and Liftuach Pandemonium.
So it's and then there's all kinds of. I know the production design put a whole bunch of sacred geometry into the halls, like triangles, circles, squares, all representing different characters and all representing different energies moving through the house. So no, it was very intentional. I agree, Ryan. That's a great call. The house and the environment, absolutely part of the whole thing, and also the tree house.
Oh my god! And like that opening shot. I think we talked about when we were doing Ari Aster's Midsommar that opening shot of the quilt explains and shows the entire movie if you're looking at close enough. And I mean, like the opening shot of this movie is the treehouse, and then we pan over and we see all these dollhouses in this small world, and we even go into one of the dollhouses, and then that becomes our story. I feel like he's really like in this opening shot, which is brilliant, sets up this entire theme and the entire storyline like right there for
and
you.
I don't know, maybe it's just me projecting, but when you first see that dollhouse and we start zooming into it, I swear to God, the top of his bed looks like a figure looming over his bed.
Ooh,
when you're coming in.
Could be.
It looks, creepy. I mean, again, maybe I'm projecting, but look at it again. It looks like someone like looming over his bed, which of course, very prescient on the movie, a little bit of foreshadowing. Also, they were supposed to shoot this movie in the winter. It's in Utah in the mountains. It was supposed to be snow everywhere, which really would have sucked for all the naked extras standing outside at the end.
Yeah, no joke. Or in the attic, like hidden away in the corners.
Right.
Yeah, super
but apparently they had to push back to spring and they had to, quote, embrace the green. And I'm glad they did. I love that kind of the greenness of it and the everything beginning new for this cult, who, by the way, they're so happy. This
they're
cult,
very happy.
Everyone's smiling. They're they're getting their riches, right? Here comes Paimon. He's going to give them all their rewards. Right, they're all so happy and naked, and that's so
like their
fucking creepy.
Smiles are super creepy. Like they're the beyond.
The dude in the doorway, is going, the guy, and they're all from the funeral. When you watch again, they're all the people from the funeral. Just in the beginning, the mom's like, "Well, there's a lot of people here I don't know. I guess mom had a lot of friends that I didn't know about. But hi, welcome to the funeral." And then at the end, they're all standing around going, "Hello, everybody. We're naked and we're happy.
We've been here the whole time."
Right. We've been here. We've been in your house the whole time watching you sleep. Watching you smoke bongs out of your window.
Yep.
My God. But that brings us to the ending of this movie. And you said very rightly, Ryan, my biggest issue with this movie has always been the ending, and not anything up until like the last couple of minutes where everything has just gone to shit. All of the cult's little machinations have worked out the way that they meant for them to. Paimon has entered our poor hero, Peter, and he's now come up into the tree house where they have his sister's severed head on the Paimon statue, his mother's decapitated corpse, and his grandmother's decapitated rotting corpse, both bowing to this statue figurine thing with the upside down Jesus fingers, and everyone's in there naked and happy. And he turns around, and then someone just sits there and goes, okay, so you're Paimon now. We're really happy that we summoned you, and now we're going to talk about all the things you're going to give us. And I was sitting there going, shut up, shut up.
I don't think I had this in my ending.
Did you watch a version where that's cut out? Because if so, I want to watch that movie instead.
I think
it's
so.
It's what's the friend? Joy? What's the friend?
Joan. Yeah.
Joan. Yeah. Joni's off screen. They don't show her, but she's like basically they put the crown on top of Peter as Paimon.
Oh, okay.
And then they're like talking. It's just it's not. It's just them. You can hear her voice. But she's explaining everything that is now going to occur because this is happening.
Got it.
So,
it's
I agree.
The ritual has ended, and this is her way of like summing up the rituals. Like, welcome, Paimon. We've summoned you.
Yes,
you know,
okay.
You are the demon of the West.
We give you this body. I do remember that, yes.
For me, it even happened beforehand, and I guess I had been forgiving the first few times or didn't really notice it, or I played it off as like, oh, this is Toni Collette's character, like just going full-blown crazy when she's explaining the story to Steven before he goes upstairs and discovers, or he's kind of in that midst of discovering her mother's body upstairs. She's like, do you remember my friend? And then this happened, and this happened, this happened. And after seeing it a few times, I'm like, this feels very story dumpy too. Like, in case you forgot all these little tidbits I gave you, here's Toni Collette freaking out for 30 seconds, but she's going to tell you everything that occurred. And it's like, you remember my friend who's crazy? Well, she did this, and look at her. I see her in every photo. And it's like, okay, after I'm like, I think that we could have like cut away from that scene or didn't even need that. And we still get like at least the audience gets to piece it together a bit more. I think it's playing it safe in that writing or having that moment there, in my opinion, after seeing it again.
That scene was one of my biggest gripes with the movie, not because she was freaking out and reiterating stuff, but specifically because he calls her out for the fact that she was lying about going to the movies. And rather than just refuting it and being like, I was going to this grief meeting, like, I have proof, like, just listen to me, like, literally just giving the reason of, like, because at this point, he is right not to trust her. She lied about where she was. There's been all this stuff going on. He basically thinks that she's the reason that there's a spirit in their house and that she's going crazy. Like,
he's convinced she's crazy. He's like, he's to the point where he's like, I'm convinced you dug up your mother's grave,
correct,
and put your mother's dead body in the attic. And if he thinks that, he's like, we're done.
Yeah,
I'm gone.
And frankly, at this point, he has every right to, because like it's like that is all added up. But she does have a pretty easy way to at least refute him long enough to be like, look, I have evidence. Listen, like, I know I lied. This is where I was. I have proof. Like, just give him
what proof does she have that she went to those meetings, though? All that would be, like, she's like, no. The only way I'm going to convince him is by showing him these facts, because he's not, if I try to argue those tidbits of information, like, he's already not going to believe a damn thing. Here I have evidence in this book.
I agree, but in the actual, at least in the actual discussion, he accuses of like, you weren't where you said you were. And rather than refuting that and being like, you're right, I was there, like confirming that and at least giving a little bit of ground, which I think a lot of these conversations, like we're just highlighting the dysfunction of the family, right? Like,
exactly. Yes.
But had she given a little bit of ground there, like there was a chance that this could have resolved potentially differently. And the fact that she just rather than giving any ground, just pivots. I was like, okay, come on.
That's the tragedy. No, Ryan, you've just hit on the tragedy of the movie. There's so many times here where we think these characters could have said that, done that, done things differently. But the fact of the matter is, no, not a single fucking thing in this movie matters at the end. They're all fucked anyways. She thinks she has control. She thinks she has all the answers. If I throw this book in the fire, I'll burn to death. It will all be over and we're good. And what does she do? She tries to convince him to do it. And she's like, oh, she's all ready to burn. And it's this like kind of tragic moment where she's ready to die for her son. She's come back around. She's ready to die for her son. And then he's like, no, you're crazy. And I'm not doing this with you anymore.
Interesting. I saw that differently.
Interesting.
And
I
then,
want to talk about this too.
And then she's like, fuck it, and throws the book in the fire, and he goes up in flames. At no point did she have any control over that situation. Dan, how did you read that scene?
So I saw that differently this time, and specifically this time, I saw it differently is that, she tries to burn the book earlier in the movie, and she notices that
she's catching on fire.
She's catching on fire. She knows that she'll die if this book burns.
Right.
But I think in my opinion, in that scene, I think she knows that who tosses the book or who's held it is going to burn, because the way that she is saying goodbye to him makes me feel like she's going, you're going to die right now, and I'm saying goodbye to you, as opposed to like, I'm saying goodbye to you because I'm sacrificing myself. The way that she like picked up the lighter fluid, it almost felt like she was leading him to his death, because she was like, I'm going to sacrifice him because I will do whatever I can to protect my child.
Huh.
I'm with Ian. That's how I took it.
I will say I'm with Ian on this one, but I was very surprised that he was the one that burned, and I was wondering, do we know a reason why he burns in that scene rather than her? Because to Dan's point, I thought maybe it was the last person who touched it, but she throws it in.
She throws it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because Paimon is the god of mischief. That's why. Because fuck you. That's why. It's literally all it is. And Ari Aster has even said, like, it doesn't matter. Like, he's in control of everything. He's fucking with them. Why does she chase her son at the end? Why do they do anything? All of that's games. All of that's mischief, right? All of that is just, it's a part of the tragedy. It's Paimon fucking with them. It's Paimon just having his fun before he takes what's his. Wow. And that's really messed up. And really that's actually, in the grander scheme of this movie, as much as the family drama and trauma is horrifying and sad and tragic, to have the bigger tragedy, and they even say this in one scene, I think one of the teachers says this about Greek tragedies, the bigger tragedy is there's nothing they could do to change it. Mm-hmm. There's no way out for them. And so even those moments where you think, you see what, again, Dan, I really do think she thought she was going to burn. She she even shakes, she gives the book to him, and he turns like he's going to throw it, and she like shakes off like I'm ready to burn. She has like a moment. Yeah. Like she's like, okay, I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
And it's not going to matter. All of this emotion, and there's so much emotion in this movie, all this horrible, tragic emotion that they go through, and it's all for nothing. Yeah. And that's probably one of the deepest, most disquieting things about this movie. But Ryan, I have to ask you, so you didn't see the monologue at the end? You didn't hear Joni talk about, or didn't?
I just thought when you said that like somebody stood up, I was like, I didn't.
I see what you're saying.
But yes, the narration was there. Although I don't think it was terribly lengthy.
Right. It didn't jump out to you.
Correct. I didn't view it as intrusive. I kind of like, honestly, I liked the lore of like her finding the book and stuff and all of this stuff leading up to the end. I do think that like the amount that they sit in the treehouse panning around to like, here's a photo of the grandma, here's the bodies, here's this, like that felt a little heavy-handed, but like I didn't necessarily view the monologue as that what's the word I'm looking for? Like not obnoxious, like
obtrusive.
Yeah. I didn't really view it as too in your face.
See, the thing is, I think all of the rest of the panning around and everything, that's fine. Like even having the little light thing coalesce on his back, like the spirits entering him or whatever, I thought that was heavy-handed, but okay. But then when you do all that and then have the monologue, it's too much. Leave it open, or have it like, don't even say whether the demon's in him or not. Like just have him come up there, look at everybody, bowing to him. He looks around and sees everything, and cut to the end right there. We don't know what happens. That to me, that open-ended ending is way more fucked up and weird and tragic and horrifying and unsettling than telling me everything. And okay, Paimon's in the kid, and I guess the bad guys won. Cool, going on about my day. It's too open and shut. It's too set. And I think this movie is so subtle for so much of its runtime. They have so many people hiding in the shadows. They have so many people like hiding in the background and little nuances and little details hiding all over the place for you to find all these little Easter eggs. Why are you going through that much effort to put things to find in the background when you're going to just shove it in our faces at the end? It seemed like too much.
I don't know that I agree with that necessarily. I didn't mind the ending too much, but what I will say is if there was anything that was egregious in this movie for me, it was the little swim shot of the mom swimming out of the bedroom. Like, what in the world? So we've got this terrifying shot, right? We've got this terrifying shot of him in the dark and the mom in the corner. And then
how fast did you see that? How fast did you see her? How quickly did you see her?
Pretty quickly. It's like it's brutal. But so anyway, so she's in there, and then he like leans forward, and we get this like there's some like the roof stuff's cool. Like I'll even say like the floating body of like floating into the treehouse was fine. I didn't mind that too much. But just the way that she swims through the doorway.
I love that.
Like I like it almost felt Disney all of a sudden. Like it was like it took all of the creep out for me because it looked like it was like almost like I almost imagined like Swan Lake like do 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 do.
I always love on this show. I never know what Ryan's gonna be like. That's scary. That's scary. That's funny.
I never know. It took all of the. It was just something about it was the movement didn't feel like I would have much rather had her like skittered along the wall or something. But like,
I think that's what they were going for. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fine. But like it felt like it was something about like the fluidity and the fact that it wasn't particularly fast. Like it wasn't like she like zoomed out of the room. She kind of like half floated and it felt very swimmy and like it just out the window, dude. I was like, all the tension's gone.
Yeah.
She's like,
maybe it would have been better if it had been faster because I know when she runs out of the corner at him and then starts banging her head against the ceiling, both of those are
the ceiling is terrifying. That ceiling shot is one of the most brutal in the movie.
Another one where he like left hooks you, where we're in the attic with him and he's like screaming, "Mom, stop, Mom." We think she's just there banging on the door and then it cuts to her and she's with the head. And she's banging the head on the ceiling.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, and the way she's staring at him is she's cutting off her own head with the piano wire. All right, dark. So what a fucked up, dark, crazy movie.
We got to talk
Ryan,
about
got
one
something
thing before we move to the end, though.
Let's do it.
We got to talk about Joni, dude. Like
she's great.
What do you? Oh no!
I love Joni. Oh, Joni.
I flagged Joni the minute Joni came on screen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The minute she waves the card out, I'm like, I don't trust this bitch. I don't trust this bitch one bit. And the thing is, I was right the whole time. I'm like, this woman's too nice. She's showing her too much. She's showing particularly too much attention. She's separating this woman from the family. Like the fact that she recognizes that there's just so many flags, and she's just instrumental to this thing. She's like literally the inciting incident of everything going south. She's the puppet master of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So she's your Mike Logan, you would say.
1,000%.
Joni. Is Joni our Mike Logan for this episode? Dan, who's your Mike Logan? Me. Shaking your head. Who's your Mike Logan?
Steve, the dad, man. No, he's my Mike Logan. Yeah.
Poor Steve.
No way. No, man, because like I have kids and I'm doing more than this dad's gonna do to try to protect my kids. And just like he's just like kind of hanging. He's like, well, I made dinner. I made the dinner, so you better come down and eat the dinner I made. Hold on,
Dan, like, just because he's not as good as dad as you doesn't make him a bad guy.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this guy seems like Ian described it perfectly, a wet blanket. Like he is like not trying. He's just he's like, enough of this talk, enough. And it's just like his wife and son are about to like murder each other basically, like emotionally, and he can just sits there and he like barely even chimes in, and the only way he chimes in at the end is he touches his hand and he's like, well, I cannot finish my Costco rotisserie chicken. So it's just like, come on, man. Like,
hey, ineptitude is not as bad as maliciousness. I'm gonna throw that out there. Just because
here's where it hit me this time after I've seen it fourth time. They really prove his weakness when after his son has banged his head against his desk at the school and he brings him home, he's pulling his own son out and he tells his wife, who is, you can totally tell that she is like emotionally a wreck. She's falling apart. She's crazy. And he's like, grab his legs. He's like, he can't even hold up his own damn son. And he's like, I'm going to ask my mentally unwell wife to carry his legs. It's like, pick up your damn son and get him in the house.
He's trying to get his wife to do something around there because all she's doing is being crazy in his.
I don't think
know.
it's because
he's got
so
a herniated
weak
disc
that he can't lift his son.
He's a wet blanket. Wet blankets are notoriously not very stiff. They're not good at holding things up. By the way, Alex Wolff, you speak of the scene where he smashes his head into the desk, dislocated his jaw.
Doing that?
He dislocated his jaw.
No.
He actually
did it for real?
He offered to Ari Aster to bang his head into the desk and break his own nose.
Jeez.
And Ari Aster apparently politely declines.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that kid is hardcore. He's currently touring. He's opening for Billie Eilish right now in his band.
No.
So props to Alex Wolff.
Well,
but all right,
successful. Glad he still has his nose.
Right. I know. And I want to just say real quick, the Mike Logan Award is for like the scummiest bastard in the movie. And you're saying this poor dad is your scummiest bastard, not the grandma who started all of this off?
Dan's little smirk. He's like, yeah.
Not the demon Paimon of the West? No?
I'm sticking to my guns. It's the dad.
Hey, I can respect it. I don't agree, but I respect it.
It's the dad.
I respect you sticking to your guns.
I respect it too. A little bit. I have to throw this in somewhere, but little bit of more Paimon trivia. By the way, the name Paimon is where we get pomegranate from. It's from the same word.
My.
And it actually means like tinkling bells. And his arrival will be heralded by trumpets, specifically. And what happens at the end when Paimon enters him? Trumpets.
Oh, trumpets.
Yeah, that amazing score. By Colin Stetson. You have trumpets announcing Paimon's entrance, which is just so freaking cool. All right, so we've got our Mike Logans. It's the name of the show. This is why you died.
Give a Mike Logan, Ian?
Paimon, the demon, or the grandma. There's so many. Basically, everyone in this movie. Basically, everyone except for that poor family. Man, they're the ones. They're just fucked. they're just victims. But this is why you died, Dan. It's your movie. Tell us why someone died in a dumb way in this. And there are some pretty good candidates, I would have to say. Tell us why someone died in Hereditary.
I mean, I don't think it was dumb. Just this, she just wanted some chocolate cake, and she just had to eat the peanuts. So, unfortunately, when you eat the mystery cake at the party, you gotta die, I guess.
You forget your EpiPen. Your brother forgets your EpiPen, forgets you have peanut allergy, and just wants to go get laid.
They seem to forget the EpiPen a lot because they're also at her mother's funeral, and they're like, "We don't have the EpiPen. Does anything have peanut in it?" It's
I
like,
thought
come
for
on.
sure. I was like, having her at the party without the EpiPen was a huge oversight. I agree.
Yeah.
The kid's sleeping out in the treehouse every night, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing out here? That sucks. Don't do it again." Okay, moving on. Like, there's so little parental guidance being like going on here.
They're
I
very
agree.
bad
Ryan
parents.
Ross, terrible parents. Ryan Ross, they're terrible parents. This is why everyone died. Ryan Ross live. Why did someone die in Hereditary?
Honestly, I'm gonna. I'm gonna go with the mom here. The mom.
Oh God.
Just does everything wrong. The whole movie. She makes every poor decision. She lies to her family. She can't face her own guilt. She doesn't take ownership of her actions. She conspires with spirits because of the advice of some random woman that is like she sees at the grocery store. And I get that she needs companionship, but come on. And then finally she goes, and admittedly, I do think that she was trying to self-sacrifice with the fireplace. But then I guess we did check because we were like, how did she get possessed in that moment or whatever? And apparently part of the whole Paimon possession bit is that they need to be emotionally vulnerable. They need to be in a state of distress or whatever.
So she could have possessed her at any point in the movie then.
Yes. And so like she literally becomes this vessel right at the end in order to get to the sun. But just like the fact that she spends so much time making so many poor decisions, not trying to doesn't make any effort to really improve or fix things in any legitimate manner until it's far too late. And then watches her husband burn, freaks out, and then just turns into an empty an empty shell for this demon to inhabit. Like, poor woman.
So basically what you're saying is This whole movie this is why you died, Annie.
Correct. Well, honestly, really, we only have the three. We've got the daughter. Well, I guess four. We've got the daughter, we've got the dad, we've got the mom, and we've got the son at the very, very end.
And the grandma.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the grandma chose that, basically, I'd say. But yeah, I think the mom, comparatively, I think the mom's the next best pick.
Yeah. Well, and I think the mom has a lot of reasons why she died.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for one thing, this is why you don't keep a piano in your house. So there's no easy access to piano wire. You know,
a piano they never used, by the way.
So dark.
Yeah.
Dude.
No. Well, it is. Technically, it is used by the end, Ryan.
One part is not the whole. You don't use a car if you take its wheel.
By the way, I once upon a time had an idea. I wanted to make Hereditary the musical. Speaking of musical instruments, Hereditary the musical. You can already see how this would be. Like, this is going to be a great musical. You've got songs like Peanut Allergy Blues, Hail Paimon, He's a Hell of a Guy.
I have never in my life prior to this moment imagined Ian as Jason Segel, but here I am imagining Ian as Jason Segel.
I can see that now.
But okay, no, think about this. Think about like the great, like the big, like dramatic moment. She says, "I never wanted to be your mother," and like feel it, right?
I don't.
The daughter has a great
idea.
Like the like Eponine has the great "On My Own" from Les Mis. In this, you know, the daughter Charlie can have "Means I Love You." Like, we can have some great song numbers in this. No,
bravo! I love the click. I love it.
Who needs the king of hell when you've got a mom like me? Come on, yeah. Hereditary the musical coming soon. Coming soon
I
to
love
Broadway.
That it's all like Chicago jazz tracks is the out of
absolutely.
all the directions you could choose.
I got that burning feeling. You're the devil. Oh, it's gonna be amazing. And the best part is Millie Shapiro, who played Charlie, was Matilda on Broadway. She could go back to her roots.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, there you
Give
go.
me that one.
There you go.
Apparently, two of the four main family are musical. We've determined,
right? You know. So, anyway, that's my "This Is Why You Died." I'm doing the musical bit for that instead today. All right, I got to recover. We got to give our Scully Awards for Hereditary. It's the time on the show we rate this movie. Boy, it's been a show. Dan, what do you give? 4 times. Before you give your Scully, but like lead into it by telling us why this movie's so important to you. You hinted at it earlier.
Yeah. So the first time I watched it, it had such an effect on me that it definitely was an inspiration for my own short film that I did like a year later, called Forget Me Nots. But like the look, that had a family dynamic of loss, of death, and so there was so much of this movie that kind of fed into the not only the visual look but also kind of like the structure and the storytelling. So it had a big impact. I think that it shifted it shifted horror in kind of a new direction on what people could be doing and what people started to do because of the undertones and what people were talking about. It had such a big buzz in the festival circuit. But I think it was the second or the third time I was watching it. It was probably the second. I was rewatching it. I purchased it. I was rewatching it, and I was up late. I had been working, so I put this movie on, and my wife was kind of asleep on the couch because we were like days away from her giving birth to our first daughter. And so I'm watching Hereditary. She gets up to go to the bathroom and water breaks. So I was watching Hereditary while the night that my first daughter was born. So it's like one of those like, oh, cool. This is one of those movies. So
that's super creepy, dude.
I know it's creepy, but it's also like, I was watching this movie during like one of the like the most important moments of my life. So it just kind of like has like a spot of like, oh, this is interesting that this movie was what I was watching. But so it's just,
dude, I'm sorry. All I gotta say is, yeah, that's
what.
I thank God your daughter came out normal, because
if she an omen, my man,
bro. if his daughter had come out with cleidocranial dystosis, like what Millie Shapiro has, that would have been
that would have been terrible. Yeah, no, I'm just saying that it's had an impact. The visuals, what Ari Aster did. And then I think that it was kind of one of the first sort of mainstream movies that was really kind of taking on the idea of generational trauma and what that does, passing it down, and that has become such a staple now in horror movies, like the metaphors of what that means. I mean, from Everything Everywhere All at Once is all about that as well too. Sci-fi film take on it. So it's like I feel like this was one of the first movies that sort of like pumped it into the mainstream of like, we can talk about this now and we can make kind of these smarter movies about generational trauma. So
we can scream and cry about this now. Yeah.
I will say that that it is an important film. It's one of my top 5 favorite horror films of all time, and it for a little bit of like the exposition dump, as you say at the end, and even what Toni Collette does with her husband before the burning scene, it knocks it down a 0.5 a peg, but this is definitely 9.5 for me.
Wow.
So
still pretty high.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
pretty high
for me.
Pretty high. Well, I got to, before I give it to Ryan Ross live, the newbie to Hereditary, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in. I've pretty much made it clear how I feel about it. I think it's a very, very strong movie, an incredible family drama with some fantastic acting. I also think it's really simplistic, and I think they spoil and waste a lot of the detail work and a lot of the really excellent build they make on this movie with a kind of a flat ending. And I unfortunately think that the ending knocks it down a half peg for me as well. I think it would have been a 9, but it's an 8.5 after having that it's unnecessary. And I think it would have been so much a stronger movie if it had just trusted its audience. And I know Ari Aster didn't have final cut in this movie, so I can't really blame him too much. But at the same time, I think it's a very, very, very good movie that's almost great. But there are elements in it that are absolutely superb. So 8.5 from me and Ryan Ross live, rounding out the trilogy of Scullies. What are your thoughts on Hereditary?
So I'm going to meet you guys in the middle. I'm going to give it a 9.
Shut
nice.
up.
I actually, for the most part, really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was interesting. I'm always a big fan for kind of like the like lore, mythology, insert entity here, like insert some rules and some ritual stuff. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie. There was definitely some things that like you spend a lot of the movie trying to figure out what's going on. I wish that we got a little bit more of that earlier and more throughout, rather than kind of like we get a chunk when she finds the book and then we get a chunk at the end. I kind of wanted a little bit more seated and a little bit more I guess foreshadowing of the resolution, if not the resolution itself, of kind of like seeding those things. I wanted it to feel a little bit more like you got more pieces to piece together along the way, whereas a lot of the things that you see during the movie are more just like what's happening rather than pieces that add to your conclusion. And yes, they do flag stuff in terms of like the cult aspect. Like I'm not saying that they don't see that in, but the cult's actions are not necessarily the tie-in of Pyman himself and like the specific event. The specific reveal is Pyman's possession. And the actions of the cult lead to that, and we get a lot of information on the actions of the cult along the way, but we don't really get any purpose until the end. And I wanted more piecing together of that purpose along the way and sort of like getting the whole picture rather than just half the picture. That's more the how than the why, at least specifically. But honestly, like, and the tension's done well. There are really really like impactful, like more tense moments in the movie. There's a lot of stuff that sticks with you. It's a very sticky movie. And there's some really creepy shots. I didn't like the swimming shot. There's some stuff that could be done better. I kind of wanted a little bit more of like the reflection thing that they do of like we see it with Charlie, and then we see it with the mom, and then we see it with the very end of the possession, and kind of foreshadowing of the son as well. But like that was a cool thing that was really only utilized a couple times. Like there's stuff like that I wanted more of. But overall, I thought it was very well done. I'm giving it a 9.
Wow, that's awesome. And so now, question, now that you've seen it, how does it compare to the expectation that you had going into it? Because you were nervous about it going in. Looking back, what do you think?
It's not as bad as I anticipated. It's definitely pretty brutal. I think that the reputation was deserved. I think that had I seen it earlier in the show, I probably would have felt more strongly about it. But seeing it after some of the things that we've seen, I was like, okay, I can see why this has this reputation, but it's not as bad as I anticipated.
Yeah.
I did like it more than Midsommar out of the two.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did I give to Midsommar? I gave that an 8.5 too,
you
right?
gave Midsommar an 8.5 as well.
Yeah,
So
okay, that's good.
Dan's 1.5 higher for this one. I'm 0.5 higher for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the same score.
Yes. That sounds that's excellent. Excellent. All is going as planned. Wonderful.
One little tiny tidbit. Did you guys notice there was like a low pulse that was a very uncomfortable sound that was heard mainly while they were in the home, and anytime she got further away from the home, it kind of like would dissipate, but anytime she's in the home drone. There was like it made me uncomfortable the whole time. It still always works.
So a couple of things. If you haven't seen this movie and after all this show, now you're like, well, I'm gonna watch it. Well, we spoiled everything, so congratulations. But if you're going to watch it, or if you're going to watch it again, you have to make sure that you are seeing it on a system that you have the gamma locked in on. Like you have to have your TV primed, or the theater that you're in has to be like adjusted properly. Your sound has to be up, because there's shit in the background that's going to be either A, too obvious, or B, completely fucking invisible if you're off by like 0.5 on your gamma. And with the sound too, if it's too low, you're going to miss all kinds of incredible sound design that's in this movie. It's extremely subtle. Another reason why the ending kind of pisses me off so much. Like, it's so much work to be subtle, and then they just go, no, we're done being subtle now. Dan, Marcha Madness, you are out of a prompt. It's time to draw a new one. And Ryan, let's talk about what we're sitting on. I'm sitting on Indonesia, which will be coming up. I'll be announcing that next episode. And Ryan, you're about to announce what?
I have Myth, and I'm about to give my reveal for Myth.
God, that's such a great
Which honestly,
prompt.
This could have been a cool one in terms of like the demonic king of hell, Paimon.
Yeah,
had I known
that could have fit. Yeah,
could have. Oh, Dan has lit up his
DeLorean.
The flux
his DeLorean's all lit up. The flux, it's lights up. I can't believe it. All right,
here we
dig
go.
into your car and pull out
in the car
a prompt from your DeLorean of the Beast.
All right, I got one. Let's shut it down.
Shut it down.
All right, here we go.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Birth. I got
Birth.
No.
Oh no.
Hold on.
I just told.
Can we talk about the irony? Yeah, your
birth story.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
That's hilarious.
That's so funny. You could have done this movie for
You're
Birth.
being toyed
Could have done
with.
this movie for Birth.
Something is messing with you.
Yeah, something is.
I will
There's
say,
another-
I'm scared, Dan, because nothing terrifies me in horror movies more than Birth. So I'm scared of what you're going to pick.
I'm going to go. I'm going for it.
The only two times I've almost run out of a theater, one was at the end of War of the Worlds because it was so fucking awful. And two was Knocked Up, the crowning scene. Ran out of the theater.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Dan has Birth. He will be announcing that in 2 episodes. I'll be announcing Indonesia, what I picked for that on the next episode. And Ryan Ross live. It's your time. What will we be watching next week on this show?
So I had Myth. I'm a big mythology guy, generally a Greek mythology guy, and ironically, I did a preliminary search for some Greek mythology horror stuff. There's not a lot of Greek mythology horror-y things because Greek mythology is more epic and dramatic than horror. So there wasn't really a lot of direct correlations there. But one that I did find that is very readily available and I thought might be interesting is a movie based off of Nordic mythology, or at least an extension thereof. And so we are going to be watching The Ritual or Myth this week.
Oh, Such a good choice. Excellent, excellent choice, Ryan. And how did you find that? Because I know you don't know about that movie. Did you just see it on Netflix and we're like, that's the one? Or
no? Here's the deal. Like, I pretty basic rule of thumb for how I find prompts for these horror movies is I look up the prompt and I look up the word horror on Google together, and then I get a list and I look through the list and I look at like a one sentence synopsis, like the first sentence or two of synopsis, and I look at the ratings and I determine based off of like how I feel that given week. And if it's like, sometimes I'm like, let's do a bad one. It's been a while since we've done a bad one, but usually I try and find one that's at least decent. And this one popped up as specifically being flagged as it has to do with Nordic mythology, and it's fairly accessible. And so it seemed like a shoe-in.
Well, I'd say that your technique has won out once again, because The Ritual is an excellent one from 2017.
Well,
I can't wait to talk.
Far.
Yeah, it has. Once again. Fantastic. The Ritual is a great one. I'm looking forward to talking about that on the next episode. And ironic that we actually started this episode talking about Netflix. Here's The Ritual on Netflix. Still no physical release.
Really?
Very Netflix.
And I won't give my opinion on that, but I will strictly just say that there's no physical. That's just a fact
of digital licensing. You don't own the thing, you own a license for the thing.
Yeah. Subscription models, we gotta love them. All right, so coming up next week, The Ritual right here on this show. Boys, we got to give some shout outs at the end of our show here. Where can they find us, Mr. Dan Marcha Madness? Let's give our deets.
If they go to beacons.ai/TIWYD pod, you can get all our links to where you can listen to us. You can also watch our pretty faces on YouTube. You can check out our Patreon, and you can look at our store. Look at this. We got a hoodie.
I know you guys are hooked up on the merch
Ryan's
today.
Got the t-shirt. Where's your button down, my friend?
He didn't get the memo.
I'll wear it next time, I promise. Damn.
So yeah, beacons.ai/TIWYD pod. All things about this show. Please support us. We appreciate it.
Ryan Ross Live, tell them about Patreon. What do we got to talk about?
We have a Patreon, guys. If you guys would like to subscribe to the Patreon, you get a bunch of cool perks. One of the main perks is that you can see the extended edition of the show, which includes the before and after of each episode where we're spinning up. We talk about all sorts of stuff. Last time we were talking about like random merch and movies that moved us, and then today we were talking about the holidays and all sorts of stuff. So you get some fun extra content well as.
You almost cried on the last dedicated.
It wasn't even almost.
He did cry.
Oh wow, he cried on camera, which was super fun, guys.
So
super fun. I love doing that. That was something we planned for. Was me crying on camera during the extended. But so you get a bunch of cool perks, and specifically one of our highest tiers is our dedicated benefactors, and it includes a perk where you get a shout out every single episode. And so I would like to shout out CG. Thank you so much for being our dedicated benefactor.
Thank you,
first
CG.
one. We appreciate
our
the support.
first.
Wow, thank you so much, CG.
Dedicated benefactor. Thank you, CG, and thank you to all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. We really appreciate the support. We're just getting started. We're looking forward to everything that we have coming on this show. And thank you to all of our dedicated listeners. You guys are amazing as well. And we appreciate you checking out this very show. And come back next time when we talk about The Ritual, which is going to be so good. But this was Hereditary. I'm so glad we finally got this one down. But everybody, thank you so much for listening. For Dan Marcha Madness, for Ryan Ross Live, I am Surrey and Dangerous. We will see you next time right here on
This is why you die.